Hey, good evening. This is Ogle's Fish Room. We're in the middle of the night. uh, I am old, so I wake up in the middle of the night sometimes and can't go right back to sleep. So this is what I do. I come in the fish room. I know it's a little harder to see the fish. There's the female betta in the back left there, and these are the zebradanios. We're not really going to concentrate on them too much. Actually, many of the Pristella tetras are out. One of my viewers asked in one of the comments where I source my materials. And I did answer her directly in the replies in the comment section. But I started thinking about it and I thought, well, that's a very good question. Things have just gotten so expensive these days. I went to buy a plant yesterday. I usually buy crypts. The Nubius and the crypts are basically the only two plants I use. The Nubius have the rhizome where you can't really put that in the ground, otherwise it will rot. The roots can go in the substrate, but not the actual plant itself. They're from Africa and are designed or have evolved, whichever way you want to put it, to grab onto the rocks and the wood, and the roots attach themselves so they can deal with the current and also the different elevations of the rivers as well. They can survive underwater completely, or if the river goes dry or gets very low, they can survive out of the water, but the roots still need to be wet. Anyway, I just wanted to, I'm sorry, I'll finish my train of thought. The point is that I'd gone into the store to buy another crypt. The crypts are the little guys down here. Cryptocorin, and we've got some over here that are doing a little bit better because it's a shallower tank. This is the 2.5. Got some nearite snails on the wall there. This is the little blue girl, blue female betta, and she's got three. That's a dwarf, pygmy or dwarf, whichever word you want to use. Gourami. They stay about an inch long, no bigger. They have the rounder tail and move like that. The ones in the very back have more of a forked tail. One on the top left there. One on the bottom is a gourami. The one on the top is a dwarf emerald rasbora. There you go. Okay. But the crypts have gone up in price dramatically. I went in yesterday to buy, I just wanted one more for the tank to my left. I'm getting ready to show you. And it had gone up to like $10. And I'm sorry, I'm on a fixed budget. I'm 69 years old, and I have to be more careful with my money. I just can't spend that on one plant. Anyway, these I've had for ages. They're doing fantastic in this little tank because they're close to the light. But I wanted to get back to the question of the viewer was where I source my materials. I use sand in all my tanks. Sand, literally, I personally go buy it from Ace Hardware because it's close by. It's like $5 or $6 for a 50-pound bag, I think it is, which goes a long way. And it's cheap. I personally like the looks of it. It's tight, so the fish waste does not get down underneath it too much. Stays on top. I like a lot of movement, water movement in my tanks. This particular tank, the 20 high, has a sponge filter on the left and one on the right, and has an outside filter in the middle, a fairly large one, as you can see there. And I pull these sponges out probably every 2 to 3 weeks, maybe longer, but if you'd see the waste that comes out of these when I squeeze them, it's mind-blowing. They do a phenomenal job of pulling waste out of the water, so I try to do my job and clean them as often as I can. I like this particular design of sponge filter because it is on the intake tube. If you can see it in the middle, even though it's black, it's in the middle of the sponge, and I literally just can reach in and pull that sponge straight up. Go squish it under the water violently, I might add, because as I said, you let this stay in there a month and you won't believe what comes out. So I pretty much rough it up and squish it and pour water inside the hole and squish it over and over and over again until it's almost clear. And I do that, I try every 2 or 3 weeks. I also pull out the filter floss. I don't go in for the fancy expensive inserts into the outside filters. I just use I buy a large, like 15-foot roll of filter floss off of Amazon and or eBay, and cut a piece appropriate size and stick it in there. Anyway, you ought to know what I'm talking about, so I won't elaborate too much. I want to get back to the rocks. This is actually a artificial structure here. Now, all those are artificial. In my other tanks, I use real rocks. And these have gotten pretty darn expensive. I bought these years and years ago. And they've kind of algaed up and tinted up over the years, and so they look real. And I still use them, especially in this particular tank. These are real pieces of wood that have the Anubis attached to them. Either I bought the wood without plants and I attached plants to them, which you can do so easily with super glue, or I bought them that way. The real rocks you can buy. I personally like the river rocks because they're smooth. Not everybody likes that. Not everybody agrees with that. A lot of people like the real rough looking rocks because it's really pretty, and it is, but it's also hard on beta fins. So I would stick with smoother river rocks. Anyway, you can go to any stone yard and buy those by the pound. And the wood, and this is the point of this video, is Pet Supermarket carries this spider wood. Now, this is an older piece that I bought years ago and was probably only about $7. Today, it's probably closer to $20. Everything has gone up in the last few years, as we all know that. The negative to this, I hate to say negative because I find it absolutely gorgeous and I do still buy this, but you need to boil it to get the tannic acids out. I put it in a giant spaghetti bowl or pot and boil it for literally 2 or 3 hours. It not only gets the tannins out, it gets any impurities out, anything that might be living. I just recently bought a piece of spider wood that had some worms in it that were chewing on it. Every time I moved the piece of wood, the dust fell out. So it got boiled, and a lot of crap came out of that piece of wood. So I would rather that come out in the bowl while I'm cooking it than so I could pour it away down the drain than in my fish tank. So that's why I believe in that. It also helps to saturate the piece of wood. This other piece of wood also came from, there's 2 pieces of wood here, but it also came from Pet Supermarket. I will try to run through their prices fairly quick. If the piece of wood has no plant on it, they do have wood that came in, either the plant fell off or died off or whatever. So there are pieces of saturated wood like these at Pet Supermarket that they will sell for okay. With the plant, it's $16. The piece of wood it's already saturated. You don't have to boil it. It's been in somebody's something somewhere for a long time, so all the tannins are out of it. It sinks readily. It's $16 for that. That's the plant and the piece of wood. If the plant has died off, they will sell you the wood for half price, which is about $8. Now, some may not look worth that, but then others are, which I'm going to show you in just a minute. This is a recent purchase of a piece of medium-sized spider wood, and that was, I want to say, $13, $14. But it's kind of forever, you know? I mean, this stuff doesn't go away. I'm not going to take too much longer here, but because I've kind of said what I needed to say, but here's another, I think, beautiful piece of wood. It goes all the way to the back of this tank. Right there. That's just one piece of wood. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. And the squishes right there, it's barely pried in there. I think it does it justice. Now that does not have a plant on it, therefore that cost me $8. So you just have to go to these places and look for yourselves and see what you can see. You might find a really phenomenal piece. I ran into this piece not too long ago, about a week ago, maybe. Yeah, I think it's only been about a week, maybe 10 days. And it is hard to see because it is nighttime. Excuse me. Okay, came with that Anubias on it. It was $16. I know it's hard for you to see, but it is absolutely a gorgeous piece of wood. It is huge. It is holding this entire pile of sand back, so it sits down in behind there. Okay, I know this is hard to see, but the sponge filter is back there. Okay. But this piece of wood is in front, kind of holding this back. It is just gorgeous. Anyway, I'm quite pleased with that. Now you've seen this before, but this is the Vallisneria, spiralis. It's got a little curl to it. And these are some crypts that I had before, just little ones that I've kind of gathered and put together. This is a lutea. It is a form of a crypt, but if it's not called crypt, it is a little bit cheaper. Don't ask me why. I came home, looked it up. I thought I was kind of being told it was a different plant. And it was in a basket, and therefore it's like $5.99 at Pet Supermarket, and that was in my price range. I'm not buying a whole bunch of them. I just needed one to fill in this area right here anyway, I like that. This is the sand's pushed up in front here and drops down behind this piece of wood that's making kind of a divider. I did trim that particular Anubias back. But it will start putting up more leaves on that stalk there with the rhizome. And then another piece of beautiful piece of spider wood there. Once again, the big ones are expensive. That's probably $20. The little one on top, which may look like it, but it's actually another smaller piece on top. That's the one that had the worms in it, and I got a tremendous deal on that. Because it was wormy, but anyway, it looks bigger in the tank. It's not a very big piece, but it's lovely. I'm very pleased with it, and but it was considered like a small piece of spider wood, which wasn't too bad. Anyway, there's another piece of wood here with that I've glued Anubias nano to. There's some more. Excuse me, these are not the sprouts. There's a autosynclus there that seems to be happy. This is the Venice. Keep mispronouncing that. It's Vallisneria, Vallisneria. But this is a straight version. But I put several back in here. I really like that. Okay, let me back up and show you this tank again. Now we are at night, so the fish have kind of calmed down. They're sleeping a little bit, and it's not as active as it was during the day. A lot of shrimp come out at night, and I love that. I use Ghost Shrimp not for feeding other fish, but for cleaning the tank. They do a phenomenal job. They've got itsy bitsy claws that can pull the little pieces of algae off the plants, and little microscopic things, and little pieces of food that might get wedged in areas that the fish can't find. So I think they're just fantastic. I love them as cleaners. I think they're cute as a button. And anyway, we're going to finish with moving over here to the 10 gallon, which seems to only have one main silver tip tetra that comes out, and is always out in this area. The others are hiding back there. I've explained before that this piece of wood, another beautiful piece of wood. Now this piece of wood literally reaches from here all the way over to the back of the tank over there, and I just paid $8 for it, and it is perfect to divide this tank here, or the sand. It's kind of running at an angle, yes, but it provides a lot of space for them to hide and swim behind this piece of wood. Now it does not have any plants on it. However, I have other pieces of wood like this spider wood that I have put Nana Petite Anubias on, that is simply sitting on top of that wood. This is another separate piece that I bought along the way, and it is gorgeous in my opinion, and it goes back to a point there, but it's got Nana Petite Anubias growing on it. And this is one of the river rocks I have had since time began. I've carried these with me I don't know how many years. There's one back there holding the main portion of that sand back. And then this was put up here to kind of hide the sponge filter. Even though this is only a 10, I do like a lot of circulation. So this has got that little white sucker cup looking thing back there is the thermostat. It's a little electronic thermostat that that's the thing holding it in the water. And the wire comes around here, and this is the little gizmo. I'll push that button on the right, and it tells me what temperature the water is. These are not expensive. You can get those $3 or $4 on eBay or Amazon. Anyway, this is it. I'm going to close out for the night. I'm sorry I talked so long, but I did want to kind of answer that viewer's question, and I hope I did so. I hope I have helped a lot of you to understand the cost of things and where you can source things. There's another sponge filter on the left, and I do have a rather large outside hang on the back filter in the back. And while we're looking at the top of things, I have two rather large outside filters on the 20 gallon one. So that's why my sand looks so clean. Now, yes, there's a little dirt here and there, but the movement of the water helps, and the fineness of the sand helps to kind of pick all that up and run it through the filters. Okay, we're going to back up and call it quits. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this has helped somebody, and I think one part of their question was, or maybe it wasn't direct, but I think they were kind of wondering if they could go out and just pick up their own wood. You can do that. I see plenty of people on YouTube that have done that with giant stumps and things that would probably cost you literally hundreds of dollars if you went to a large store. There's some in Daytona. We're in DeLand, Florida over here, but over on the coast in Daytona there are stores like Mr. Petman that carries huge stumps for big tanks that are literally, as I said, several $100s. But since you can't boil that, I would be afraid it would be leaking tannins in your water, which is nothing wrong with that. Some people like that look. My 75 has that because of all the wood. I just don't care for it in all my tanks. So that's up to you. I just worry about other things being in the wood that might hurt something. If I were to do that, if I had one of those big open tanks, which I don't do, I like lids on all my tanks so nobody jumps out. I also like the containment of the light. I like to be able to look in here and not have my eyes bothered by light sticking up. I like it all to be concentrated on the inside of the tank, but that's kind of old school. The new theory, or the new, I hate to use the word fad, but because I think it's very pretty. A lot of people, they're taking the tops off the aquariums and they're letting the wood stick out of the tank, and then they grow, like bog plants and things out of the top of the tank where just the roots are in the water, and then the whole plant's sticking up. I can't do that because this room stays closed. The lights are always off, except for the tanks, and so a plant sticking out of the tank would not get any light, or not sufficient light to grow. So I'm not doing that here, but other people do. All I'm saying is, if you were to try that, I think it's very pretty. I kind of like the idea, but I think it would probably leach out for months and months, if not longer. So anyway, I'm trying to be quiet now. You have a good night. Thank you so much for watching. This is Ogle's Fish Room signing out. Take care. Bye bye.